A very good evening. Thank you so much for tuning in to UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. Welcome to UBC News Tonight. My name is Sharon with Mugalu Mohammed on sign language. Let's take a look at our headlines today. In UBC News Tonight, Uganda and China seek to bolster relations. Still to come, ICT Ministry to dialogue with journalists. NRM asks Sharon to respect court. Diaspora accused of tarnishing country's image. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch UBC News Tonight. In our top stories of the day, President Yoweri Museveni has received a special message from President Xi Jinping of China, delivered by the special envoy of the Chinese leader, who is also a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China, Zhang Jike, at State House in Entebbe. In his message, President Xi Jinping has praised the ever-growing bilateral ties and cooperation between Uganda and China in various fields. While addressing members of the press after the bilateral talks with his guest, President Yoweri Museveni noted that Uganda stands on the importance of respect of sovereignty of countries of the world, as pointed out in the special message of the President of China.
How are you? I'm doing fine.
Have grown rapidly in recent years, and our cooperation in various fields has enjoyed strong momentum and stayed at the forefront of China-Africa cooperation. In his message, he also mentioned that since COVID-19 started, China and Uganda have supported each other at these trying times. We have together left a touching chapter of solidarity.
I want to express appreciation for the donation of 50,000 anti-COVID testing kit.
您宣布中国将对乌干达提供5万份新冠病毒测试试剂
and 300,000 anti-COVID vaccines. 300,000.
以及30万新冠疫苗，我们对此表示赞赏。
And further cooperation on developing our own capacity here against viruses.
我们还提到了增强乌干达在抗击疫情方面的自主能力。
Ever since 1949, when the Communist Party came to power in China, African freedom fighters have been working with China.
自从1949年共产党在中国执政以来，非洲自由战士就与中国一道携手合作。
Therefore, our cooperation is now more than 70 years old.
Relatedly, China has reaffirmed commitment to further bolster bilateral relations with Uganda, which were currently elevated to comprehensive cooperative partnership status. This was revealed by Yang Jiechi, a special representative of China's President Xi Jinping and a high-ranking member of the Communist Party of China, while meeting the Foreign Affairs Minister Sam Kahamba Kutesa and other officials in Kampala district.
A special representative of China's President Xi Jinping and a high-ranking member of the Communist Party of China, Yang Jiechi, is in Uganda for a two-day official working visit at the invitation of President Museveni. During a technical meeting with Ugandan officials held at the Foreign Affairs Ministry in Kampala, Yang Jiechi, speaking through a translator, delivered President Xi's message congratulating the NRM and President Museveni on his recent re-election.
China warmly congratulates President Yoweri Museveni and the National Resistance Movement for winning the general election. We believe that under the leadership of President Museveni, Uganda will continue to enjoy stability, development, and progress.
He revealed that the People's Republic of China is aiming at bolstering the bilateral relations between the two countries.
I want to thank you for the important contribution that you have made to the development of our bilateral relations over the years. This is deeply appreciated by the Chinese side.
On his part, Foreign Affairs Minister Sam Kahamba Kutesa, who led the Ugandan delegation during the closed-door technical talks, assured the visiting Chinese senior official of Uganda's commitment to strengthening ties between the two countries. Addressing the press shortly after the closed-door talks, the State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Onek, revealed that the discussions centered on a range of issues.
We had the opportunity to discuss with them. For example, the Minister for Karamoja was there. And we had the opportunity to discuss with them and thank them for the major projects like the Kuruma, Isimba, the expressway, and the airport extension, and also to tell them that we want to move to the next stage of the completion, second stage of completion of the airport. We want them to consider supporting us with the standard gauge railway, which is from Malaba into Uganda, into Rwanda, into South Sudan. It was discussed. We talked about the reform of the UN, which is very important for Uganda. Africa is not represented in the Security Council, and we talked about Uganda continuing to support the African position, what they call the Ozulili resolution.
He adds that they also asked their Chinese counterparts to expedite the process of working on the bilateral air transport services agreement between China and Uganda.
We asked also that Uganda Airlines should be permitted to fly into China, and for them to consider to give a slot for Uganda Airlines to be able to fly direct to Guangzhou and other capital cities. So it was a very fruitful meeting.
After the talks, the visiting delegation left for State House Entebbe for a meeting with President Museveni to discuss ways of strengthening and consolidating bilateral relations for the mutual benefit of both Uganda and China. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
Judiciary has dismissed allegations circulating on social media on the alleged secrecy meeting between the Chief Justice, top management of Judiciary, and President Yoweri Museveni. According to Judiciary spokesperson James Kalemani, says the photos circulating on social media showing Chief Justice's car at State House is an archive photo when the Chief Justice had gone to attend John and Lumo's memorial service. We have a detailed report to tell you what transpired. Watch.
Social media is awash with photos showing the Chief Justice's car parked at State House Entebbe. This is meant to allege that the head of Judiciary was at a secret meeting with President Yoweri Museveni. According to social media posts, the alleged photos and information about the secret meeting were linked by a police officer only known as John A. Diambo. The head of communications at the Judiciary, Jameson Kalemani, dismisses the said allegations, saying they are falsehoods and fake news.
One can conclude that the falsehoods that are contained in that report, in that media circulating report, is intended to derail people, think that there was a discussion which was secret about especially the ongoing petition, which is not right.
Kalemani says the alleged photos on social media are archives taken during the memorial service of the late Archbishop John Luum or at the swearing-in ceremony of Justice Margaret Opinyi.
The second time the Chief Justice was at State House was during the John Luum celebration day, which was on the 16th of this month. We don't know the intentions of whoever is circulating the same, but as Judiciary we condemn the same, and we always ask that whenever there is lack of information that you may want, please always reach out to us.
Kalemani also highlights on how the Chief Justice can run official duties as the head of judiciary arm of government and at the same time as Justice of the Supreme Court.
Because constitutionally, the Constitution allows the President to continue acting and performing the duties of the President. With that, officially, the top management of the judiciary cannot say that it cannot interact with the President of the Republic of Uganda, and that is the sense in which that interaction happened.
Chief Justice Alfonso Winyidoro, during a recent session at the Supreme Court, said the judges of the Supreme Court are not easy to scare, induce or intimidate.
I give you the assurance we will proceed with this application, we will proceed with the petition, and nobody should have the fear that we will favor any person or we bear ill will against any person. If anyone thinks they can intimidate, they can blackmail that Chief Justice of Uganda, then he's heading for a crash.
Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Thank you so much, Deborah. In more stories, the Minister for Information, Technology and Communication and National Guidance, Judith Narakoba, has said that the ministry will invite media practitioners for dialogue following the continued standoff between journalists and security agencies. This was at a media conference at the ICT Ministry in Kampala.
Standoffs between the media and security operatives are unfortunate occurrence, but not about to end. Just recently, a scuffle happened between the media and military police as NUPO's leader, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, lodged a complaint at the UN Human Rights offices in Kololo, Kampala.
Our ministry will support all efforts meant to improve the working relationship between the media and all the sectors of government to minimize any future conflict. So we shall work together to see how to improve and also how to come up with guidelines that can help us in such rare situations.
With apologies and condemnations drawn from a section of government officials, including the CDF General David Muhozi, the Ministry of ICT has resolved to dialogue with media on a way forward.
We believe that both parties should be consulted. You sit together in a room, brainstorm, this time not about covering news, but thinking through how best can we work together. I think that will be the best way forward.
This was at a weekly press brief by the Minister for Information, Communication, Technology and National Guidance, Judith Narakoba, at her offices in Kampala.
Over the years, government has worked hard to ensure that the media industry in the country progresses without any interruptions. We must remember that Uganda has one of the most vibrant media institutions, all industries in Africa. With over 300 radio stations, Uganda has an average of a radio station at least in every district. We also have several TV stations and online media channels that are doing a great job. Hundreds of journalists work for those stations on a daily basis without any fear of interruption from the state or government. Therefore, the incidents like that of last week are rare and shouldn't define what Uganda has achieved in the media industry.
The minister also reminded Ugandans about the planned changes in issuance of permits.
Come again 1st March, the process of issuing new driving permits will be done from Uganda Railways building at Nasa Road in Kampala. A new company will be taking over from First Technologies that has been based in Kyambogo. So, beginning 1st March, permits will be processed from Uganda Railways. Up-country offices will remain offering the same services but working with the new company that is taking over.
Government is also calling for preparations by parents, learners and proprietors ahead of semi-candidates class resumption early next month.
It has been almost a year with the children at home. Parents should be using this time to check with all the expected requirements. Some children might have already outgrown some of their items like school uniforms, shoes, and other essentials. I believe this is the time for parents to begin organizing the children. Now that we have 1 week to report back to school, it calls for parents to take on their responsibilities, but also the school proprietors to organize their schools to be in position to receive the semi-candidates.
Although minimum cases of COVID-19 have been registered by the Ministry of Health, government is reminding Ugandans not to step back. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Kampala.
The Deputy Chief Justice Richard Butera has asked advocates and legal practitioners to concentrate on giving out facts as known to them and not conceal the truth. This was during the launch of a book entitled Law Practice in Uganda, authored by Aso Asok. Professor Francis Wazarahi Wenje of School of Law, Nkumba University.
Nkumba University School of Law has launched a book entitled Law Practice in Uganda that gives insights of the practice and the way forward of the law practice in the country. The ceremony was graced by the Deputy Chief Justice of Uganda, Richard Butera, Judge Remi Kasule, staff of Nkumba University, advocates, among others.
For students of law, they would find the book handy. So would their lecturers, and then the practicing members of the bar and those of the bench. The book provides good guidance in this difficult area of managing money that is not yours. I think the Law Council should be grateful to Professor Wenge for tackling this topic adequately.
Legal practitioners are seeking for the reform of the law governing the legal practice in the country to allow them practice internationally. They say this will allow them expand wings elsewhere.
Opening up. We are losing in very many respects. When we say the legal profession for Uganda is for Ugandans, yes. But we are losing out. We have excellent lawyers here, members of the legal profession, who would be handling cases at the international level, who would be handling cases at the regional level. And the fees are in billions. So when you say, let's cocoon ourselves within Uganda, it is not very positive. Let us break out, let us go out, let us, both as the schools of law, but also as practitioners. There is no harm in having an associate firm in Nairobi, in Dar es Salaam, in Kigali, so that we can make the legal profession grow and be wide, and we make arrangements to ensure that if there is need for outsiders to come and practice, do a case here, then we get a reciprocal arrangement so that for us ourselves also we can go and practice in those countries.
These are some of the insights of the book.
Offered is magnificently woven, a woven guide, and with a practical perspective with the advocates of this era. Through well-researched ideas and views, the book provides tips and legal practice and supports in preparing law students within the profession. We are proud as Nkumba University that it advanced that we should always maintain not to mix money for client vis-a-vis the firm's money,
a common factor that is being found in most law firms. He said the advocate must submit a detailed account of transactions undertaken within them, that whereby it is a common factor that when an advocate is presenting a client, he assumes that when a client has been compensated maybe 2 billion, then he should have a share. He's trying to emphasize that advocates are only entitled to their costs, not to the compensation after the delivery of the judgment.
Professor Francis Wenje, the author of the book, encouraged other professionals and advocates to also author books for betterment of the law practice in the country.
Of course, you know, we have got problems. There are challenges in the legal practice. You have had lawyers being even sent to Zira for stealing clients' money. You have had quite a bit of problems. There are some people even who have not qualified at LDC who open chambers and start practicing as if it is normal. These are the things we are trying to educate. He said, before you become, for example, telling them that before you practice law, you must have finished a course at the Law Development Center, and you must have been enrolled as an advocate. And you see in the book, for example, I'm giving examples even of senior lawyers who practice without license, and they have been admonished by the disciplinary committee and so on and so forth. So those are the sort of things I wrote about.
Zahara Bigaba, UBC.
In more stories, the National Resistance Movement Party has regretted the recent beating of journalists who were on duty the day Chagulanyi was at the UN Human Rights offices in Kololo. Now, the Director of Communications at the NRM Secretariat, Dombo Emmanuel, thanked the media for giving objective coverage on NRM activities.
The National Resistance Movement Party has said the recent assault of journalists by the military was a regrettable incident. The journalists were battered on the day Chagulanyi was presenting his grievances to the UN Human Rights offices in Kololo.
Let's hope that in a civilized world like Uganda, civility will prevail so that we can keep talking about the issues that affect us, instead of other people receiving or getting maimed, even when it could have been avoided.
The National Resistance Movement lawyers also criticized the conduct of the petitioner in the presidential elections case.
Is that all incidents of unprofessionalism, all incidents of deliberate refusal to abide by law and order have only been on the part of the petitioner. Throughout, the rules in his mind do not apply to him.
That evidence has been adduced all through the hearing, and we fail to understand why the Supreme Court rejects the evidence that we are bringing before it.
Counsel then swears an affidavit telling a lie on oath. Telling a lie on oath that he had come with other volumes and the court had refused to receive them. This was presented in court the other day if you watch the proceedings.
Chagulanyi has been critical of the court process where he is seeking legal redress. He even publicly threatened to withdraw the case. NRM lawyers are, however, not moved by this move.
Obviously, if he withdrew, well, the matter ends there, and we pack our bags and go and continue with our lives. All right? And then, yes, we wait for, I mean, you can be rest assured, as lawyers for the respondents, we shall go after Honorable Chagulanyi for the costs. I mean, that needs to be said, if he chooses to take that course.
The National Resistance Movement Party says they have filed 188 affidavits in response to the petition lodged by NUP's lawyers in the Supreme Court challenging the January 14th presidential elections with a view of overturning NRM victory.
Our instructions are to obtain a victory, and we intend to do exactly that.
Court will between 25th and 26th February allow cross-examination of witnesses. Ivan Kahwa and Sebira Andrew, UBC.
Now, in more news, Ugandans in the diaspora have been encouraged to continue promoting patriotism and Pan-Africanism. The Minister of State for Tourism, Godfrey Chwanda Subi, says some opposition politicians and Ugandans living in the diaspora are involving in tarnishing the image of the government. Chwanda says this is done out of their self-interest, which has contributed to low towards many Ugandans in the diaspora thinking that there are no developments in the country.
Uganda is among the many countries on the African continent with a big number of its citizens working overseas. However, some of these elements are being accused of involvement in negative propaganda against the government of Uganda in the outside countries. It is upon this backdrop that the NRM supporters in the diaspora are being mobilized to preach patriotism, be ambassadors of their country and involve themselves in telling the truth about Uganda. The Minister of State for Tourism and NRM National Deputy Chairperson in Uganda region, Godfrey Chwanda Subi, was at a function organized by Ugandans in the diaspora and the NRM Diaspora Campaign Task Force 2021 held at Hanlon Gardens in Zambia.
We've done a lot towards our success in the just concluded elections. Thank you so much. We are here to thank you. Of course, I will inform His Excellency the President about this. And of course, he knows. I know you've also informed me about some people really who have been probably have bad motives about you. But of course, you couldn't be bad people, and you've worked with General Katumba Wamala, you've worked with Honorable Mululi Mukasa, you've worked with me, we've worked with Honorable Kefa Chiwanuka, Honorable Attorney General. We want to dismiss those kind of rumors. They are not true and they are baseless.
The NRM Diaspora team has been in the country participating in campaigns for President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and the NRM flag bearers in the just concluded general elections.
It's like they are saying that we don't belong to the diaspora because we live in Africa. The diaspora is for those people that live in the UK, the US. Yet we are also Ugandans and we contribute a lot to the economy of the country.
Tulina ebizibu byaffe bingi mu kuyingira okufuna visa ezitubeezaayo mu Egypt ne ku airport singa tutambula amagenda n'amadda tunyigirizibwa nnyo.
Uganda n'enzija Uganda agenda kusipiisa ani nothing ever happened ate nga n'abankuba mbamanyi South Africa yes bana Uganda bennyini so si ndi bannansi bana Uganda bennyini so these days it is worse than before. Abaana bali very very serious mu kye bakola ate bagambwako.
Chwanda said that the NRM government is to embark on visiting all Ugandans in the diaspora and won back the disgruntled. The Deputy Attorney General Jackson Kafuzi commended the NRM diaspora team for their participation in the general elections, which enabled the NRM party sail to victory.
I would request you take time, seek audience with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, so that he takes this up. If it's not brought to his attention, he may not know of its existence. This is not limited to South Africa, but we also include South Sudan. But all other countries where you feel that your security is a threat, is shaky, please talk to our authorities so that they liaise with our people on the ground.
The function was attended by the Special Envoy Yuna Kiza Seninde, the Member of Parliament Chiboga East Kefa Chwanuka, and the Deputy RDC Kasangati, among others. Story compiled by Salvo Kasibante.
In more news, the national resistance movement remains strong in Bukedi sub-region. Now, this has been witnessed in Budaka, Butewo districts, Bukedi sub-region as well. The defections are an assertion that President Sharon Museveni still exercises a lot of support and was done for Mzee Yendelea task force members currently in Bukedi sub-region.
The national resistance movement government support is increasingly rising with the number of recruits in its ranks from Bukedi sub-region, Eastern region.
So many programs have been brought and implemented. Like water securation, people have benefited. We have a good road network. We have schools built. We have been lacking a city school they have provided. So people don't see why they don't love the government. They love it so much, even the children.
Muzei Yenderea Task Force and NRM mobilization team are in Bukedi sub-region, preaching the NRM ideology to members, especially those in the opposition. The members say President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni won massively, thus the need to close any gap among the doubting Thomas among the opposition and the NRM party.
Tulaba kintu kya nnaku nnyo okubeera nga baddira pulezidenti waffe omulonde omupya gye twalonda n'omutima ogumu ne baba nti bamutwala mu kooti bamutaddeko obusongasonga abeeyagaza ebyawe olw'okuba ffe ekyatulwanya nganze veterandi tetwali tunoonya kweyagaza nga gwe wabula twalwanirira nsi bantu kubeera bulungi babeere mu mbeera nga gye tulimu essaawa eno ey'okuba nga buli omu asobola okwesigaziza ekye.
In Bukedi sub-region, the LC3 chairman, Mujiti sub-county, Budaka district, Mosuko Jacob says Uganda is now a peaceful country and warned propagandists against tainting the country's image.
To my younger men, my younger boys and children, that they have benefited much in this government because education is free. They start from immunizing them. I don't see why they are trying to confuse the people.
An NRM mobilizer, Asman Musika, says youth in Bukedi sub-region voted for President Museveni and lashed out at critics of the incumbent president. Halima Motesi is also an NRM supporter and warned all those planning to cause chaos that a politically unstable situation causes conflict and sometimes death of innocent people.
Isuka niasobola baala government ya Museveni niasobola otufuga kyovona tumunoni akalulu era iswana no wona nyumba eno mwana gyatekera nti office ya Museveni anu waliwo wa Museveni wungi.
The support of President Museveni has continually increased with the defection of a former Forum for Democratic Change chairperson Chiria Muzamil to the NRM party. Muzamil asserts that Museveni won massively and called upon others in the opposition to join the ideology of the NRM party.
Buwaini ya wabire o President Museveni inga koba anti ya muibire niki akalulu. Naye nga mbakobere kituufu nti o Museveni okusinzira okumbita okululuba muwairo waisweni nekakasanga Museveni yabitira ubiti.
Forum for Democratic Change chairperson Budaka Yazid Meme Bulomi says Ugandans must not be deceived that the security of the country is at stake because they are safe. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Promoting economic empowerment among marginalized communities through creation of income-generating opportunities is crucial for governments to achieve sustainable development goals by 2030. Political and community leaders from Busia district have pledged to work towards uplifting the socio-economic status of Busia district to restore its lost education and socio-economic glory. Details for that.
The former Principal Judge Justice James Ogola has urged Busia district political leaders to be transformational and spearhead development through effective community mobilization. While speaking during the Busia District Development Conference held at Makerere University, James Ogola advised Busia communities to support the newly elected leaders for effective legislation.
We must tap into the export promotion zone at Massaf. That one is a godsend. When it takes off, it will be like, what is this thing at the industrial area? The Namave. That's my understanding of the thing, that it will be a mini Namave. And can you imagine Namave coming to Busia?
Busia District Chairman-elect Stephen Mugeni Wasike disclosed that the major objective of the meeting was to discuss the plight of Busia community and champion economic independence.
What we must put in the industry, if it is like looking after the hair, the chicken, and then packing in that area, participate. If it's about maize, adding value, participate in the production of maize. So, how can we participate and also take advantage? of these opportunities.
Samia Bugwe South Member of Parliament elect Godfrey Were Odero said the conference was aimed at creating awareness and explore potential areas where Busia community can partner with government.
And also to take this opportunity for today's conference, work has already started. This indeed is a new beginning for the people of Busia. I want to echo the LC5 elect for having come up with this idea, plus all the elected leaders of Busia district, so that we can come together for the purpose of service delivery in our district.
The State Minister for East African Affairs, also a son from the district, Julius Maganda Wandera, said government is providing an enabling environment for the private sector and advised the Busia community to take advantage of the East African integration. The Makerere University Vice Chancellor, also a son of the soil, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, raised the concern of poor academic performance in the district and called for intervention.
Even all those who have completed go to secondary school. Half of them drop out. So by the time they reach the level of going to university and other tertiary institutions, out of the 2 million, you have only 60,000 currently. So where are the others? So there is a problem, but it is a national problem.
Story compiled by Wangira Kelmint for UBC News.
Residents of Itojo Sub-County and Nyamkana Town Council in Tungamo District are worried about the retarded construction of Edia Kategaya Memorial Institute. The Sub-County Chairperson Itojo Sub-County, Kwesigabo Benson, says Edia Kategaya Memorial Institute was a presidential pledge, but its construction has been dodged by shoddy work. This was disclosed to the Inspectorate of Government during an on-spot assessment.
President Yoweri Museveni made a pledge to build an institution in memory of the late Eria Kategaya, a directive which the Itojo community expected to be followed, and the institute was expected to be among the best in the country. The project was funded by Ntungamo District Local Government, with Graham Trading Company Limited as the contractor, and the supervision was done by the district engineer in the financial year 2017-2018. Mayor of the Itojo community, the structures constructed are in dilapidated state.
By his position, they expected a big institution, good structures, well planned, but to their surprise, very small structures have been put there, and the community is like thinking that a lot of money was brought to put up better buildings, but what is being put there is not that to the expectation. And personally, as the chairperson, I feel the structures do not rhyme even the state of development in this country.
Kwesigabo says there is lack of information and the community is not certain about the future of the structure.
We are supervising what we don't know, which to me I feel is lacking. And when they talk of the shoddy work of recent, most of the structures, the cement was cracked. They are now repairing. As I talk right now, there is some repair work going on. When even the construction is not yet over, the cement is already removed. So to us and to the community, when they see such a thing happen, they already think that the structures don't have cement. So the origin of the complaint from the community, I will not deny it. I can say there is some truth in it, because if a structure does not, in 1 year, needs repair before it is used, then the community has a feeling and a concern to complain.
It is alleged that over R1 billion was invested to construct a Eria Kategaya Memorial Institute, and Kwesigaba says the contractor put up more pit latrines than classrooms.
Comes here, asks me, you mean you need more toilets than even the number of pupils? Huh? You'll find there are about 20 pit latrines up there. You don't know who is going to use the 20 pit latrines. And when you look at the structures, the classrooms, they are too small.
The new sub-county chief Itojo Kyomugisha Koleta says the buildings are now being occupied by animals and expressed the need of maintenance.
Nobody is in charge of maintaining the structures. The animals are entering left and right. The place is not fenced. People are complaining. We don't know who is responsible. So really, I think as stakeholders who is in charge, we should look into it to see that these buildings, which are already here, are really well protected. Otherwise, it will be a loss to the government.
The disclosure of the state of Eria Kategaya Memorial Institute was made by community monitors in Tungamo, which led the inspectorate to visit the site and verify its state.
In fact, one of the things we are doing, we are happy with the communities of Ntungamo because they have already come up with such kind of complaints. These are the things that we want the communities to do for us. And we have picked very interest in this institution, and we can assure the community of Ntungamo that investigations are going to be conducted and everything is going to come to conclusion.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Thank you so much, Sudat Kaye. In more stories, government has implemented a number of projects in Karamoja sub-region that have led to substantial progress in economic growth of the semi-arid cattle keeping hub. These multi-sectoral projects have been vigorously implemented and monitored to ensure quality service. Mtesa Sidaharuna has a detailed report.
With affirmative action, Karamoja is no longer considered as hard to reach sub-region. This is after a mindset change of Karamojong, construction of good roads, improving health and education infrastructure in Karamoja sub-region. Kangole Bridge diversion connecting Teso to Karamoja sub-region in Napak district was constructed in addition to Nadungate along Suroti-Moroto Road.
Even some would be difficult areas like accessing Tapach, these days you can move because both UNORA and the district engineering unit through the Fossa County unit they're working on all the spots.
This school is going to do a great job for us. It's under construction, a 2.3 billion project. That's not a small achievement. Really for government, a big sum for government for that.
166 kilometers Suroti-Moroto Road and the 82-kilometer Nakapipit Road is tarmacked, along with 3 bridges constructed at Lorengdwat, Namalera and Lokali.
The road to Rupa up to the border with is also very okay. Up the border with Kenya, the other side is also good, and so far we are moving on well.
We have a work plan under the districts, under the road fund, and coincidentally we also remit some funds in the lower local government under the community access roads.
Achievements so far registered include safe water for consumption, good roads and irrigation system in Nakapiripit and Amdat, which support farming.
But you have been able to drill some boreholes, especially in areas of Yiri, Apeitorim and Boron.
Mount an irrigation system where water will be running to support the crops which will be growing, and we are looking at a very improved community in the next 1 year or so.
Classrooms, teachers' houses, boreholes, health units have been put in place or earmarked for construction to consolidate these achievements.
The government has started a number of schools. Among them is Rupa Seed Secondary School, which is located in Rupa sub-county. This project is a U-Gift project. It is nearing completion.
In Napak, we have 31 UP schools, but we have been able to construct some of the new buildings in some schools, like some schools in Lokopo. We have a school in Lumono. We have Prochua di Furniture. And among these components, we have also CD school
Multipurpose water reservoirs in catchment areas have been already identified for human consumption, irrigation, farming, and livestock. In a bid to improve the capacity of electricity supply in Karamoja, government has shifted from the old wooden pole network to concrete and metallic towers.
If this power is completed with the substation which is being constructed in Otuke sub-county, Nadunget, we trust that this should be able to move and ensure we have stable water, stable power in Moroto. These are all developments which are coming as Moroto is also earmarked for a city status.
We cannot, Karamoja cannot be the same. Day by day, month by month, year by year, we see a lot of improvement in the sub-region where previous governments had neglected.
With upcoming industry hub in the region, Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited remains committed to supply reliable electricity across Karamoja sub-region. Opuyo Moroto high voltage power line is under construction and is aimed at increasing the capacity of more electricity in the sub-region. These government efforts demonstrate the core beliefs of governance and prosperity for all. Mutesa Sida Haruna reporting in Karamoja sub-region for UBC News.
Indeed, governance and prosperity for all. Thank you so much, Mutesa Haruna, for that wonderful story. Still about Karamoja, this region has got the highest number of patients suffering from tuberculosis. Makari Infectious Disease Institute research Dr. Andrew Kambugu says they are now in the region, responding to the Ministry of Health emergency call to Karamoja.
A study by the Ministry of Health indicates that the Karamoja region is 4 times more affected by tuberculosis than any other part of the country. The Ministry of Health has now declared the Karamoja region a TB emergency area with 60% of people infected.
But also that the population this side is very young with high malnutrition levels, very poor. So from that, we have noted, and the Ministry of Health has noted, prevalence of TB in this region is 4 times higher than the national average. 600 per 100,000 or 600 people compared to 200 people in the rest of the other regions.
A team from the Ministry of Health says they are trying to reduce the rate of infection through giving out treatment to all affected persons.
For now, with all those cases, the other issue was that the patients that were coming, we are starting the treatment, but only 3 out of 10 would complete their treatment. That is a big problem. So we are working with the district leadership to ensure that these patients are supported to complete their treatment.
This was at a stakeholders meeting at Karenga district headquarters. Tuberculosis mainly affects people who tend to stay together with animals and sometimes feed on raw blood and milk. Karenga District Chief Administrative Officer says the district has been getting support from the Infectious Disease Institute to help them avert the trend of TB infection.
They've supported us in terms of giving us the knowledge, the technologies, and the diagnosis and the treatment. They've also gone ahead to give us other facilitating facilities like motorcycles, like labs, like screening materials.
The Institute responded to this call and sought funding from USAID, and right now we are seeing high screening rates for TB, meaning that we are finding the TB and treating it.
Affiliated to the ruling National Resistance Movement, Hilary Baloka Onek does not regret being passionate about serving Ugandans in technical and political capacities. The current Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees says he has faced corruption, sabotage and sometimes malice, but none has kept him aback. How he opted out of active engineering for national politics is a question we are answering tonight as we delve into his political and family life. Enjoy.
I attempted to get it published in the papers, the technical challenge that we would face.
As a registered and chartered engineer since 1989 to date, Hilary Obaloker Onek advised and was instead ignored.
And what they would say is that I should just go and look after sewage.
A few years later, what he predicted about the extension of Kira Power Dam came to pass.
The lake level dropped drastically.
He starts his day on a fitness and health note to prepare his mind, body and soul for the business of each given day. This is what he has been doing all his years of civil and public service.
Ordinary day in my life, when I wake up, I do some small exercises just to keep my body fit. And after those exercises and breakfast that follows, I prepare for work.
After successfully attaining his master's degree in business administration from Makerere University, as a mathematician, his calculations did not mislead him into joining politics.
The people at Lamoa were looking for a candidate, somebody whom they thought would represent them effectively in Parliament, and they zeroed on me. So I was invited by elders from all the sub-counties or all the 6 main clans of Lamoa. After consultations, I accepted that proposal and I took it up.
Since 2001, Engineer Hilary Onek has not lost a single parliamentary election. The recent elections saw him go through unopposed, making him one of the longest-serving members of Parliament.
When you are elected as a member of Parliament, you must know that that is a job you have been delegated responsibility. They should be consulted periodically when there are major questions, major issues that government may be bringing up, so that they are in tandem with the process, with the political process in the country. And that's what I do.
Joining politics may have been a good move, but the time at which he joined was so challenging. The Lord's Resistance Amiable Group, led by Joseph Kony, had internally displaced nearly all persons in his constituency. It took his proposal to reinforce the Uganda People's Defense Forces with a local defense force to get rid of the rebels.
So I moved around throughout Lamoa district in all the IDP camps and persuaded my people, the young people, to join the army. And I recruited about 6,000 young men and young women.
In his capacity as a member of Parliament, he played various roles. He chaired the Sessional Committee of Parliament on Natural Resources and was also a member of the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. His professional background also saw him become a member of the Committee on Science and Technology.
That committee eventually led to the establishment of the Ministry of Science and Technology, because that was our strong recommendation that we formed that ministry to develop our scientific innovations.
His political career was taken a notch higher in 2006. At the time, Hilary Onek was appointed Minister of Agriculture, something which took him by surprise.
Due to my background in national water, where we developed corporate plan with clear objectives, what to achieve and so forth, and measuring your performance. So I introduced that into the Ministry of Agriculture, that we must work in a structured way where we would be able to measure our achievements and then see our shortcomings.
He has since earned the trust of the appointing authority, who has maintained him in cabinet. He has served in the Ministries of Energy, Internal Affairs, and now Disaster Preparedness and Refugees.
We have managed to build some schools in these districts where the refugees are. We have managed to expand some health services, and we are also starting to do some roads, like the road from Moyo to Yumbe up to Koboko. We are going to tarmac it. We are also tarmacking the road from Kitgum to Atiak.
In doing all this, the son of a soldier has not forgotten his rural background, where farming is another way of survival in Lamwa district. Even when he solely relies on nature, with no much adaptation to technology, venturing into farming makes buying food here the last thing to think of.
Those resources we get, the income I get from those activities, I don't drink them and I don't misuse them. I just put them back to improve my environment, my living conditions. And the reason why I've developed this small farm, and I've kept some few animals which you are going to see, and goats and sheep. And essentially I don't buy food.
As he personally inspects his 1,000-acre large farmland, something he does every morning and late evening, he has a word for the youth.
You can even have only 1 acre of land which is about the size of my compound here. You can turn this into a big money minting institution if you put appropriate agro investment in it.
His success in farming has not been a one-man show, but rather made possible by embracing teamwork. The team is mainly made up of his family that he values so much, hence the need to balance between family and work.
What I do when I'm in the farm and my wife is in Kampala, she's with me. And what we do in Kampala, we are together.
While he was still young, he used to spend free time with friends in clubs and sports activities. The same free time he now spends with his family. A corporate member of the Uganda Institution of Professional Engineers, Hilary Obaloker Onek is married with a wife, children, and grandchildren. Henry Okurut, UBC.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello, how are you? Tell me, how do you do? We're here to show some appreciation for the things you do. Send you for today, and this send you for tomorrow. Send you for every time and everywhere you go. We love you so, and we enjoy life with you. We are happy, happy, happy to know that we will go with you. That's why we say, send you, send you, send you, yeah. Send you, send you.
Thank you for choosing MTN. Use MTN mobile money, bundles or other services to get Senchu points. The more you use, the more Senchu points you get. We look forward to many more years together. Senchu.
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action. And it never tasted this good.
You're still watching UBC News Tonight. In our business stories, Kayola diesel coach bus has excited Kasese municipality. Now the newly assembled facilities on a road test drive through the sub-region, the Brenzori sub-region. Kasese came to life as many turned up to have a glance at the vehicle, grab photo moments, while others cheered on as it made drives through the town.
It is not yet a week since Kayola diesel coach bus was commissioned at Nakasongola UPDF industrial base, but the facility has already made tested drives to as far as Kasese and other Rwenzori region urban centers. The RDC Kasese, Lieutenant Joy Walusimbi, who received the bus, believes for Kasese, such innovations can boost the tourism sector. An official with Karamoja's Corporation, Enoko Kabiridi, says the bus is an indication that Uganda and its population is progressing in terms of technology, adding that it will also open up employment opportunities to the youth.
Wakati penga bafuzi kiba kitulaga nti obudde bujja kutuuka tutujja kuonona sente okukola basi weebu tujja kulangaze waffe kiba kitegeeza nti emirimu gyaffe gisigala wano.
Kabiridi said that it will give hopes to all Ugandans who have plans to open up factories to do their own vehicles.
Esuubi n'okumanya nti bannayuganda tusobola ekyo kintu kikulu nnyo okumanya nti sigamba nti buli kimu kyonna kirina okuva mu bazungu omuddugavu naye asobola okukola ekintu nga kino so kiwa abaana esuubi n'omwana agenda mu ssomero n'amanya nti asobola okutwala subject nga physics abeere engineer ng'asobola okwekolera ekintu nga kino mu Uganda.
He however says government should think of establishing plants in Kasese since the district also has some factories like Kirembe Copper and Kasese Cobalt Company Limited.
Tulina iron kiba kitegeeza nti ebintu ebyo bwe tubikunganya ne tulaba nti tutaddemu omuwendo ne bifulumya parts ezisobola kukola basi ng'eno oba n'ebintu ebirala kiba kitegeeza nti abaana ba wano ne mu mines baba bafuna emirimu kati ne tudda ku factory naye beefuna emirimu bwe tuba kweyase ku factory ng'eyo ne tusobola okufuna abasuubuzi abasobola okutunda kiba kitegeeza nti chain y'abantu abanaafunira mu kintu nga kino eba nnyingi.
The director, Enrollment, Richard Maganda, said they have plans to expand factories in other districts, adding that it will create employment opportunities to the youth in those districts.
In the future, tusobola n'okuleeta Kasese n'ekkolero eribeera kumpi awali minerals oba processing plants za minerals zino nti ne bikola nga input mu kukola emmotoka. So kye tuliko nti we are on drive ya industrialization. Twagala okulaba nga mu Uganda muno mulimu industrialization naye ffe Karamoja nga twekutte kukola mmotoka.
The UBG 720H Darker Grey 47-seater bus was made by Karamoja's Corporation, a state enterprise spearheading the making of vehicles in Uganda, and the Ruero Industries, a military institution based at Nakasongola Army Base.
That's all we had for you at 10 p.m. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV Inspiring Again and for watching UBC News Tonight with me, Sharon, Kyomugisha, and Mugalu, Mohammed in Sign Language. From the team and I, have a lovely night and a great week ahead of you. God bless.
Brought to you by At Umeme, your safety is our top priority. Report illegal practices to Umeme when you detect them. Download the Umeme app for other services. Stay alert, stay safe, save lives. Umeme, powering Uganda.
A warm welcome. I hope you have enjoyed your weekend. It is time for the weather forecast from the Weather Center with Semper Alex Kim. We have been dealing with the sunny and hazy conditions across the country most of the day today. However, as the day picked on, there was some few areas that experienced some rainfall across the country. The kind of weather we are dealing with is mainly because of a persistency in tropical cyclone Gwambi over the Mozambique Channel that is causing dry but hot winds to come through the Sahara Desert into a region, the reason for the hazy conditions and hot temperatures. Well, tomorrow morning we do expect sunny intervals across most parts of the country. However, areas along the Lake Victoria Basin are expected to have some chances of some light isolated rainfall. Well, into the afternoon, we do expect this to develop into thundering showers, especially for the southern sector of the country. That will also include the eastern. Because of this, we do expect temperatures to go to 30 degrees centigrade. That will be quite hot in Karamoja region. For the nation's capital, Kampala, at 27, and we are expecting 22 degrees centigrade. That will be in Kabale Highlands. And elsewhere across the globe, we are forecasting for London as well as Washington some chances of some light isolated rainfall. But for Cape Town, we do expect bright and sunny conditions at a daytime high of only 23 degrees centigrade. Well, that wraps it up. Join us again tomorrow, same time.
Brought to you by At Umeme, your safety is our top priority. Report illegal practices to Umeme when you detect them. Download the Umeme app for other services. Stay alert, stay safe, save lives. Umeme, powering Uganda.
Welcome to English in a